Sports. It's who we are. It's what we do. It's how we roll. It's wins and losses, highs and lows. It's effort, respect, and dedication. The High School Sports Beat. Sports. It's who we are.
Hello everyone, welcome and thanks for joining us on the High School Sports Beat. I'm Dave Yates. We continue our look back at 10 years of covering Section 5 sports, and we begin with a near perfect season for the Penfield girls basketball team. Here's Bill Pucko and Brian Mazurowski from January of 2012.
And in the number one slot, the Penfield girls basketball team, the Patriots are off to a 10-0 start, winning by an average of almost 25 points per game. Brian Mazurowski has their story.
A perfect year would be considered a lofty goal for any team, but at 10-0 over halfway through their season, the Penfield girls basketball team just might have perfect within reach.
I think a lot of it is how experienced we are. We call the young kids the kids that just came up on varsity, but they're actually juniors, which is weird because we call them the young kids, but to have kids that have that much experience is going to set you up for a good start no matter where you are.
It's been more than a good start, though. Penfield cruised through the first half of their season, winning every regular season game by at least 10 points. Many teams would use a start like this to ease up a bit, but not the Patriots.
I just don't think these guys are programmed that way. They play so hard in practice every day that I really think it transfers onto the court during games.
To ensure there was going to be no sense of invincibility, the team took part in a mid-season tournament with some stiff competition.
We went down to, it's called the Amsterdam Showcase, and it's the best tournament in New York State over the holiday weekend.
It was different because a lot of the games we've had here, we've won by a lot. In those games, we got to practice closing the games and not letting them catch up.
The Patriots worked on closing out games and adjusting to new circumstances.
We got to be in a place where the reffing was a lot different, so it was two of the most physical games that I've ever played in.
Oh, they don't call anything down there, so it's really tough coming back here, and then like the touch fouls get called, whereas like kids were really, nobody cut through the lane and didn't get hit. It was like the NBA back in the 80s with the Pistons and that. If you were cutting through the lane, somebody's going to nail you.
In-season tests like the Amsterdam tournament certainly helped the Patriots, but the girls of Penfield don't need to be pushed by coaches to be their best, as many take it upon themselves to prepare for the basketball season through other sports such as lacrosse. By playing multiple sports together, the girls have developed a great bond within the team.
Well, our chemistry on the court is really good, and like we're all best friends, and like I hang out with everyone on my team, like they're the only people I hang out with, and it shows on the court because we're all worried about the team instead of like our personal stats.
One of the biggest things that helped our team chemistry is the Eastside YMCA, because the girls will call each other all in the summer and in the fall and say, let's go play 3-on-3. There's always a place for them to shoot, and they've really become good friends off the court because of their love of the game.
All of the hard work is paying off so far for Penfield, who's keeping an eye on their main goal for the year.
Well, I want to win sectionals because we lost last year in finals and it was not fun. So I want to win sectionals and I want to win states.
I mean, our overall goal is to definitely win sectionals this year. We're really going to push ourselves, and that's where we eventually want to see ourselves, or maybe farther.
So it's a sectional championship or bust for the Patriots, or at least most of the Patriots.
My goal is to get better every day. It's the process of it. And my other goal is to play games until there's no more games to be played. So I don't want to say the goal is sectionals and then we win sectionals. If we win sectionals, then what? I want the goal to be, we want to keep playing games, as long as there are games to be played in New York State.
Brian Mazurowski joins us now. Look, I remember the Penfield cross country and the volleyball team especially. Great success in the fall. they've had a good year so far, and there's some reasons for that, aren't there?
Absolutely. And talking with the girls and talking with Coach Vogt, a vast majority of these girls on the basketball team play a second sport, and the one thing that makes the coach really happy is that they're thinking in terms of basketball while they're playing these other sports, and that's got to help them out on the court immensely.
And we see a lot of these girls come lacrosse season, right?
Absolutely.
All right, Brian, thank you very much.
The Patriots will go on to win the Section 5 Class AA title over Gates Shiloh and ran their record to 24-0 before falling in the state championship to Cicero North Syracuse and the amazing Brianna Stewart. Well, coming up next, Matt Trable joins us for the High School Notebook. We've got that and more when the High School Sports Beat continues. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the High School Sports Beat. I'm Dave Yates. It's time now for the High School Notebook, and that, of course, means it is time for Matt Trable to join us. Matt, thanks for hopping on board.
Thanks for having me on.
Well, you know, when you talk SEC, most people automatically think football, justifiably so. But there's another sport down there that people take pretty seriously, and there are a lot of great athletes, including some from Section 5, and that's track and field.
Last week we talked about Noah Williams, one of those names in that sport in the SEC, big star. And this week I want to highlight another former Section 5 student athlete who was starring for LSU track and field in their first year at the university, as well as a former Spencerport student athlete who's starring in the SEC as well as a redshirt freshman. Monique Hardy from Webster Thomas is a freshman for the Bayou Bengals who competes in throws. Recently, on March 23rd, she was named the Southeastern Conference, the SEC Women's Track and Field Freshman of the Week after her outdoor debut saw her win the hammer throw at the Louisiana Classics, one of the big events, with the second best throw in program history. Her first indoor season with the Tigers also included being named the SEC Women's Freshman Field Athlete of the Year, so she's doing it both indoor and outdoor. Vanessa Watson with Tennessee is also making Rochester proud. She also received an award on March 23rd, being named the SEC Women's Co-Runner of the Week. In her collegiate outdoor debut, she posted the nation's top time this season in the 400-meter hurdles. That time also ranked 8th in the world. She also finished first in that event at the Florida State Relays, another big event, on March 26th. And she was named a 2021 Indoor Second Team All-American in the 4x400-meter relay. A couple other big-time stars.
You know, getting out the crystal ball here, I might see some Olympians in the future. Just a thought, not saying anything. No pressure, no pressure. You know, and of course, those of us know around here that the effects of the pandemic and how schedules have changed and sports are playing at different times. And that's true in the college ranks too, and that's true about college soccer.
Yeah, like much of Division I soccer, the UB women's soccer squad is playing its season here in the second semester in this unorthodox school year. It is a squad full of Section 5 ties. Sophomore midfielder Leah Wangender, who was a United Soccer Coaches All-American in 2018 for Spencerport. She is a starter for the Bulls and is currently tied for third on the team in both points and goals. On March 21st against Ohio, those Bobcats, she had one of the very best goals in all of college soccer this school year when she, in the 108th minute, won the game by corralling a throw-in, doing 2 step-overs to fool defenders, doing a give-and-go, and then one-timing a screamer past the keeper for that game winner. A memorable strike for the 2019 All-MAC freshman teamer. Twins from Wheatland Chili, Hannah and Abby Callahan, have also started every game this season for UB. Hannah recorded an assist last weekend versus Miami, Ohio. Another Section 5 on the team is York's Jennifer Mandarano. They are currently an impressive second in the MAC standings behind Bowling Green. So it's Section 5 individual, those products, Section 5 alum, individual talent that's also helping team talent and team success.
That's great to hear. And I'm now talking about a sport more familiar with the spring, baseball, and we got a Terp who's tearing it up.
Junior midfielder Ben Coles from Newark has turned into one of the best power hitters in college baseball this season. For those Maryland Terrapins, he was far from shabby with the Terps prior to this season as well. 50 starts as a freshman in 2019, followed by starting all 15 games the team played in last year in the pandemic-shortened season. 3 homers and 14 runs batted in during that sophomore campaign. A team-high 6 for 6 on stolen base tries in 2020 as well. This year with Maryland, already 14 games in, he is tied for 14th in the country in home runs with 8, as well as being 4th nationally in home runs per game. Plus, he's a whopping 2nd nationally in slugging percentage and leading the Terps in batting average. On March 16th, he was named Big Ten Baseball Player of the Week after a weekend series versus Rutgers, where he put up 5 homers, 8 RBI, and 6 runs scored in just a single series, just a single weekend. A few days after that, in a single game versus my beloved alma mater, Penn State, I still have to say it, he went 3 for 4 for 5 runs batted in, including one of those homers he's becoming so known for, Benny Bambino.
All right, great stuff. As always, Matt, thanks for joining us. We'll see you again next week.
Thanks for having me on.
All right, we're back with more of the High School Sports Beat right after this. Coming up next, this week's Making the Grade nominee, and later we flash back to our first look at Isaiah Stewart. We'll have that when the High School Sports Beat returns. Welcome back. Thanks for watching the High School Sports Beat. I'm Dave Yates. Making the grade this week is Brockport's Jenna McNulty. The Blue Devils senior is a team captain on the soccer team, where she was named first team All-County in 2019. Jenna carries a 4.0 GPA and is a member of the National Honor Society, as well as a Key Club member. Outside of the classroom, Jenna volunteers with the Junior Blizzard soccer team and at Food Link, the Hilton Food Shelf, and Vacation Bible School. Jenna plans to continue playing soccer in college while majoring in business. For being a great role model for young athletes as well as displaying excellent sportsmanship and strong academics, this week Jenna McNulty is making the grade. Well, if you have a student in mind for our Making the Grade segment, we want your nominations. Send them in to mtg@rocksportsnow.com. And now here's some of the athletes, teams, and coaches making news in our Section 5 Spotlight. Congratulations to Victor's David Ferentz, who signed a 2-year deal with the NHL's Nashville Predators. Red Jacket football is on a roll, and Logan Kiefer is leading the charge. The senior ran for 449 yards on 35 carries with 6 touchdowns in a 68-34 win over Perry. The 8-man football squad won their opener over Holly the week before, with Kiefer tallying 295 yards and 5 TDs. And finally, TD Erlin returned to lacrosse with a great debut for Denver University, going 14 for 14 on faceoffs and a 19-11 win over Providence. TD is a grad student for the Pioneers, who are ranked 5th in Division I to start the season. Well, coming up next, the 9th grader at McQuaid, who is now a Detroit Piston. We'll have his story when the High School Sports Beat continues.
And now to Eichel. He floated one. Score!
Welcome back, and thanks for joining us on the High School Sports Beat. I'm Dave Yates. We flash back now to December of 2015 and our first look at Isaiah Stewart. Here's Bill Pucko.
We go to McQuaid, where the Knights are trying to live up to their basketball tradition. Behind a young game changer.
Starting at forward, a 6'7" freshman wearing number 33, Isaiah Stewart!
Isaiah Stewart is a name you'll be hearing a lot over the next several years. He is a 6'7", 215-pound, wait for it, freshman at McQuaid. He's just 14 years old and a potential game changer.
A lot of people compare me to like other great players that came from Rochester and said that I can be the next one.
Well, Isaiah's a super talent, and the best thing about Isaiah is he wants to work, he wants to get better, and he understands that there's a ton of good players out there, and for him to play at a high level, he's got to put in a ton of work and keep getting better. So his mentality and his just kind of demeanor as a young kid is really the most impressive thing.
Where do you think your game is? What do you do? What can you do better?
I'm good at I'm just like, I'm good right now. I know there's like a lot of improving. I just want to like work on more like ball handling and, get into the basket, jump shot, of course, and just working on my game. But as of right now, I think I should like improve more better and, it's like shooting.
Stewart is generating the kind of buzz that Thomas Bryant provided at Bishop Kearney a couple years back. Bryant is now at Indiana University. Stewart's father was born in Jamaica. Isaiah embraces his roots.
It's great because, if you never heard of the Jamaican basketball player, Patrick Ewing, that's probably like my favorite basketball player of all time. And, for him to be from Jamaica, my dad's Jamaican, and, just like made me want to play basketball.
Did you expect such a fuss to be made over you so early?
Not really, but, I am like working on my game, and, for me to see that it's like paying off, then I'm very proud of it.
Expectations are high at McQuaid, where basketball has a rich heritage. But the Knights haven't so much as won a sectional title since 2003, when Coach Jack Leisure was a junior starting guard, alongside Mr. New York basketball Tyler Ralph. That team won a championship in the second of back-to-back state title game appearances.
There's so many good teams out there. Even the team I was on was number 2 in the nation, and we're down 7 with 3 minutes left in the state final. So to win a state final, to get that far and to be that kind of team takes a lot of experience. It takes a lot of work outside of the season, inside the season, and these guys are certainly capable of that.
Leisure is a direct link to McQuaid's glory days under Coach Joe Marchese, under whom the Knights won 306 games over 20 seasons, 8 sectional, and 3 state titles.
Well, Coach did a great job of motivating, I think. I think what he did was he made everyone buy into something that they believed was bigger than themselves, and it was always about the team. He never let anybody believe that there anything going on with them personally was more important than the unit. So no matter what great players we had or what things were going on with the team, everybody knew that team was the most important thing, and we sacrificed ourselves for the greater good of the team.
How are things going for you? First year in a new school, how's everything settling in?
It's going great. I just want to thank all the families, the staff, and coaches, and everyone that just helped me get to the point where I'm at now. Working hard in the classroom, on and off the court. It's going very good. I like it.
The difference between a 14-year-old kid and an 18-year-old kid you get on a varsity basketball team is huge, just in what they can handle, cognitively, and then also just, the things they're going through and their development as a kid. So, yeah, you certainly have to treat things differently, but when it all comes down to it, they're all just out there playing basketball, and they that's a language in itself that they all can understand.
Stewart scored a career-high 22 points in a win over Franklin, making modest gains so far. McQuaid is 3-3.
We'd like to thank the athletes, teams, and coaches in Section 5, and if you have a story you'd like to share with us, please let us know. Send an email to rocksportsnow@gmail.com. Thanks for watching. Be safe. We'll see you next week for more of the High School Sports Beat.